Union leaders and GM representatives negotiated for 25 straight hours before the walkout at 10 o'clock this morning. 1,700 workers on the day shift, part of almost 4,000 now on strike, walked out under the watchful eye of a General Motors photographer stationed on the roof of the GM plant. Most of the workers I talked with said they were prepared to stay out as long as it takes, but some told me they expect to be back to work in 4 days.
They told us to report back Tuesday morning, 6 o'clock.
Why is that?
Well, just they're hitting several plants at one time, see, and that way this fire scheduling up more than anything else.
In other words, it's slow down rather than their
That's right.
full-fledged walkout.
Yeah, they've already informed all of us to come back Tuesday morning, 6 o'clock. Be off today and Monday. That was our idea all along, to do that.
Are you prepared to stay out longer than that if necessary?
If necessary.
The president of the United Auto Workers Local 276, James Thornell, says he hopes it can be settled earlier than that, but that Tuesday may be too soon.
And if they know they're going to be back to work Tuesday, you got something that I don't know, because all we know at this time is that our plant is on strike, and come 9 o'clock in the morning, we're going back into negotiations to try to resolve the problems.
Is there any one particular issue that there's a big hang-up on, or is it a combination of some?
Only one issue.
Only one issue. At the present time, it's production standards, which is better known to the public as overworked conditions.
The international UAW representative, Charles Bruising, says GM management is not responsive to the union's grievances, and that's the reason negotiations have not been productive. Each day the strike continues, it costs General Motors in the neighborhood of $1 million or more. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move at the GM plant in Arlington.
I think people have their minds pretty much made up within the first few days of any campaign, and the rest of it's just here and there. I picked up more points in the last 10 days than any candidate except Truman, and I was still a hell of a ways short.
The concept they have is to have child care where parents do and provide the share they can to help pay for them. And in that respect, I think it's very good. I also would like to see people that are on welfare form their own little child care communities. Let's just suppose that 3 working mothers, unwed mothers, live out here, that they would take turns, and one of the mothers would look after the children and let the other mothers work, and then the next day they would rotate turns, and each of them would do day work and help out. Because if a person works, they can have self-respect, and they're going to do more to raise their children.
I have 5 brothers, 5 sisters.
What position are you in that group of 10?
I'm number 8.
Did anybody else play sports before you?
No, I was the first one to participate in sports.
You feel that had your older brothers, what I'm trying to ask, was anybody any better than you in the Collins family?
Well, that's kind of hard to say since they didn't participate, but they were all good athletes, you know, natural athletes. But, you know, they didn't have a chance to develop it or to participate, so it's kind of hard to say.
Times, I bet, even though perhaps there was not, in my case anyway, when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of food on the table, but we had fun because we had a big family. How about yourself?
Yeah, we didn't have the problem with the food. We were raised on a farm, and we always had plenty of good grub. But, you know, there were things to do that required time, and playing football took a lot of time away, you know, after school and things that when you had to come home and things you had to get done. So they weren't allowed to participate in sports.
They have a very experienced defensive club, and I'll be faced with Ron McDowell, who's about a 10-year veteran, and he's a very experienced ball player, such as the whole defensive club.
Of course, the television camera follows the football more than anything else. What's going on between you and this fellow? What are the little intricacies that only you will know about after the game's over?
Well, Usually, we always have a few things going. Of course, the defensive guy tried to defeat the offensive lineman, every chance he gets. And after the game is over, we usually go up to each other and say a few nice gestures to each other, and I think kind of make things interesting for the next meet, So it's a lot of fun.
Ron, Sunday, your most productive day as a Cowboy, was it not?
Yes, it was for an active season. I really was pleased with my performance, passing game, but not for blocking, and I've really got to work on that real hard. But we won the game. We won it against a real tough Baltimore team, and we got a real tough game coming up this week with the Washington Redskins, and I'm really looking forward to a very, very exciting game, and be my first encounter with the Redskins personally.
Do you think your game plan might be similar to the one you used against Baltimore?
No, not at all. They have entirely different personnel on defense, and they have different type of schemes as far as covering the passes and also protecting against the run, and so we have entirely different pass patterns and also running plays.
Some 400 steers went on the auction block this morning at the state fair. Experts in the field call it the greatest steer show in the history of the fair, as 4-H members and future farmers of America parted with their forfeited friends in exchange for cold, hard cash. Buyers decked out in red kerchiefs competed for the livestock, but nobody got quite as carried away as one buyer did last year by paying $9,100 for the grand champion. This year, Jim Dyer of Fort Davis sold his 1,220-pound Charolais Angus for a mere $5,000. The Tom Thumb grocery chain paid that tab, but Corky Evans told me that they would have been willing to go to any price to get the champ for promotional purposes. I asked Jim what the money would go for.
Well, I was going to use it to go to college on. I'm a freshman. I'm going to go ahead and use the money to finish college on all I can.
Are you going into ranching to raise these animals?
Well, I'd like to. That's what I'd like to do.
Is this your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
Jamie, did you help raise this animal?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you look just a little bit sad. Are you sorry to see it go?
Yes, ma'am.
He's going to share the money with you, of course.
Mm-hmm.
An expert mathematician just figured out that this beef on the hoof costs some $4.25 a pound. Take heart, housewives, everybody's paying high prices. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Judi Hanna at the State Fair.
Most people only break bread together and drink wine in church during communion. But this old church breaks with that tradition. It serves fondue. What used to be the Lutheran Memorial Church on Cole and Armstrong is now a restaurant.
And tomorrow night it opens its doors, specializing in gourmet pastries, Swiss fondue, and a plentiful stock of wine and drinks. Some of the older neighbors complain that it's sacrilegious, but manager Buddy Peacock just shrugs them off. He says the church hasn't been a real church since the 1940s. Since then, it's been used as a flower shop, an antique store, and an artist studio. But the diverse inhabitants haven't really changed the old church much. It looks the same on the outside. And inside, it still has the same rough beams put up back in 1909. Of course, a bar has replaced the old pulpit, but the owners say they're trying to keep the church atmosphere. Wood carvings dating back to territorial Oklahoma loom toward the ceiling, and stained glass windows hide the dining nooks on the second floor. The developers are hoping that the restaurant's combination of history and unique menu will keep the old church in business.
The only thing religious about this old church is its name. You won't be hearing any lofty sermons from this pulpit. However, you will be subjected to some very conservative rock music. Martha McIntire, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Have an extra microphone here. Don't know that you got enough.
It takes 4 times the work of Boeing for them to build. Happens that November the 7th is coming, and naturally I would hope that come right this minute. I don't. That in the future the government is going to have to either provide loans or guarantees. We are already doing this to some extent in research.
I feel that we lost a great asset to our team in losing Kent Marshall. He was a real fine quarterback and a real fine leader. Stepping in, I felt like I had a lot of confidence in the team that we could drive the ball and maintain scores from our offense. Stepping in, I told the offense that we wanted to take this ball down and drive the first time we got in there, and we did. We consistently drove the ball on their defense, which was a tough defense. They had a lot of quickness, speed, and a lot of aggressiveness.
You came out throwing on the second play, I believe. Do you like to throw the ball a little bit more? Do you think TCU will be throwing a little bit more now?
I don't know that we'll be throwing anymore. We'll, I guess, throw our share of passes. We'll pick on a certain weakness in their defense and try to capitalize on it and maybe break one on them as far as passing goes.
James Franklin, number 11, here's number 12. 40 followed, and that's a gun, 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 Vicks Continental Western, Columbus.